Miss Emily, I understand that if the side door of your house is open, there is food on the stove. Is that true?
Yes.
So I imagine a lot of people just drive around till that they see that door open, huh?
They see that side door open, they stop. And every day somebody stop by. Every day. And if they don't stop by to bring something, they stop by to see what I got on my stove.
And what you'll find on Miss Emily Meggett's stove is the kind of food that you never forget once you've tasted it.
What is the first thing you knew that you could cook really well? Something that people would ask you to cook?
Grits.
The 89-year-old Edisto, South Carolina native has been cooking all her life. She measures nothing, uses only basic seasonings, and doesn't write down recipes. Until 2019, when a family friend convinced her to put the recipes of her enslaved ancestors in a book. Gullah Geechee Home Cooking is now a New York Times bestseller. More on that in a moment. But first, let's talk grits.
Grits should be the first thing because we had grits like every morning. Going to school, going in the field, wherever you going, we had that grits for breakfast every morning.
Some people think that it's complicated to prepare grits. How do you fix your grits?
I don't measure. So I just put some grits in the pot as much as I think I need it. Then I wash it about 2 or 3 times and get all those eyeballs out of it.
I think some people might be surprised to hear someone say that they wash their grits before cooking their grits.
You're supposed to.
Uh-huh.
You're supposed to wash it and then put it on the stove to cook. You don't wash it, you know what? You got a lot of hooks in your stomach. Because when they send the corn to the mill and they scrape the cob, once they scrape that cob, you got some hooks on that in the grits. So when they go through and separate the grits with the hooks, you got a bag for hooks, you got a bag for grits, and you got a bag for cornmeal. Wow. So if you don't wash that grits, you got a lot of hooks in there. A lot of people don't wash it.
Ms. Meggett, you said that you remember watching your grandmother cook. What kinds of things did she cook?
Everything that was cookable. Everything that was cookable because Edisto had everything that we needed. We didn't have to go off the island to get but very few things. So whatever was here, I thought we was poor and it was hard time, but we was rich because we had everything right here. Rice, grits, flour, sugar. We had it right here. Shrimp, crab, oyster. We didn't have to leave the island to go to get none of those things. Edisto is one of the most blessed places on the planet. Heaven.
No place better than Edisto, huh?
No.
So someone couldn't get you to move from Edisto, huh?
No money can move me off Edisto.
Let's talk about you growing up on Edisto, since you so love Edisto Island and no one could ever take you from Edisto. So let's talk about life on Edisto. What did you do as a young girl on Edisto? What do you remember?
Well, as a young girl on Edisto, I had to go to school. And then when I get out of school, I had to come home and had chores to do. And I thought, girls and boys, I thought they were supposed to do whatever the boys does. So we had to bring wood, cut the wood, feed the hog, feed the horse, and pump the water for the cow and the hog and the horse. We had to go out in the field and there was some weed that they called sorrel. We used to have to pull that, the whole bag full, and put it in the pen for the pigs. Then we had to get moss and put it in the hog pen for the hog when it rained and sloppy. So I did a lot of things growing up on Edisto as a young girl.
But what if you didn't want to do that? Was there any chance of you getting out of that?
The strap was coming.
Uh-oh.
Kids back then, they had to do what their parents said, do long as it was right.
Right.
If kids didn't have no decision, well, I don't feel like doing this and I don't feel like doing that. You know, feel. You better feel and go do it.
Somewhere along the way, you met a handsome young man named Jesse Meggett. Do you remember the day you met him?
Oh, Lord, have mercy. The day that I met him, there were some boys from across the bridge. Adams Run up Hollywood. They were like 4 of the boys here. They didn't want the boys from across the bridge to come over here to see the girls over here. So this guy named Percival says, we're going to send those boys back across that bridge because they don't belong over here. So Percival said, let's gang those boys and run them back beside the tree, and they said they're going to sing a song and get those boys off this island. Those boys really never come back. Say, sick him bulldog, lick him up. Come on, Edisto, beat him up.
Oh. You remember this song?
Yes. That was so funny. Those boys leave and those boys didn't come back. Sick him bulldog, lick him up. Edisto boys going to beat you up.
Jesse Meggett apparently said the right things to you because you would eventually marry and have a lot of children.
Yes.
I know that your husband passed away about 13 or 14 years ago.
I think it's about almost 15.
And the two of you were parents to 11 children. Tell me your children's names.
Christopher, Mildred, Elizanne, Joanne, Louise, Emily, Carolyn, Elizabeth, Laverne, and then Margaret, and one stepchild, Ronald. It was 12 of us here in 4 rooms, plus kids that follow me home. And when I called their parents to tell them to come and get them, I don't want to come home with those white people. And their mother and father didn't care whether they stayed or come home. So then I had to make room for them with 4 girls in one bed and 4 girls in the next bed and 1 boy on the couch, on the folding cot. And the baby slept with us in 4 rooms.
The house you're in right now, you've been in since 1960?
1960. In 1969, we added on the back.
Wow.
For another 4 room, because we used to have 4 room up front, and added the back for another 4 room, and it turned out to be 9 room. So I had 9 room in the back and 4 room in the front. So that's 13, that's 11 room, a big bath and a half.
I understand one thing about your husband, that the home he grew up in is now in the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. Can you tell me about that cabin? I understand it was a slave cabin.
Yes. Only 4 rooms in that cabinet. And then they had like 2 room upstairs on the eave. But you couldn't stand up.
And how many people lived in that cabin?
10, 13.
13 people in how many rooms? 4? And who was Julia Brown to you?
Julia Brown. She wasn't nothing to me.
Mm-hmm. But she also worked at Dodge Plantation.
She was the cook for the Dodgers and those. I went there in 1954 to wash the dishes in the kitchen to help the cook. Because the cook used to cook for upstairs and downstairs. They had like 6 help. When I went there, the cook used to cook for both of them. So then about 3 weeks later, then they appointed me to be the cook for the help. So I cooked for the help, and Miss Julie cooked for the Dodgers and those upstairs. But I had to tell you, I had the time of my life to get everything in order like how she wanted. Because I didn't know how she cooked. She didn't know how I cooked. I tell you, I had a struggle for a while. Because if I didn't do it right, she would throw it in the trash can.
Oh, boy.
I tell you, she just take her finger and touch it and go into the trash can. She said, I better look for something else for those kids for lunch. Well, what am I going to do at 11 o'clock? 11:15. But I tell you, it was a tough time. But I could have killed her every day I walked to that door.
Oh, no.
But I know she was going to come up with something. But I tell you, I thank God for her today.
Uh-huh.
Because she have taught me some things to cook.
Tell me about some of the things you cook, Miss Emily.
Oh, Lord.
I know that's a long list.
That's a long list. Many things out there that I don't cook. Okay, I got shrimp and gravy. I got red rice. I got hoppin' john. I got chicken curlo. I got okra gumbo. I got okra soup. I got squash casserole, beans, turkey, baked chicken, fried chicken, fish, crab, oyster.
There is nothing you don't cook. What would you say is your best dish?
Shrimp, grits and gravy.
Oh, I love that. One of the things that's interesting about your cooking and people who know how to cook well is you don't measure anything.
I don't measure. All I do is cook.
Was that difficult when you were putting your cookbook together, when you had to put down, measurements so that people would know how much to use, those of us who don't cook as well as you?
It wasn't really difficult because I cook from my brain, my heart, and my hand.
Here we are. You are a best-selling author. Miss Emily, can you tell me who came up with the idea to make a cookbook?
The lady that I went to work for, Becky Smith. And I must have been there like maybe 3 weeks, and she said to me, Emmy, you need to read a cookbook and let the people in the world know who Emmy is. I said, man, I can't do that. So she said, oh, yes, you can. So after breakfast in the morning, there were no lunch, and I'll fix the dinner and leave it. And she would sit down on the floor, and I sit in the chair and just sort of give her the recipe for whatever. Chicken, baked turkey, ham, baked venison, you name it. And she sat there and she put it down, and she said, we're going to record it. So then she recorded, and we got it all together. Everything had left on her. We said, well, maybe we can self-publish. And I tell you, we went through some good time with our self-publishing and into some bad time. And then I said, now, I don't know nothing about Zooming. I don't know nothing about texting. Don't text me because I don't text. So then Becky Smith's son said, I'm going to do something to get this book on the market. That was like 2019. I had some good help. So I said, well, maybe I'll go for it 2022. I may see it and I may not. So here we are.
Tell me your reaction when you heard those words that you are a New York Times best-selling author. What was your reaction?
I can't get excited, and for some reason, I don't know why, I can't get excited. I said, Lord, just help me to stay calm, because if I get too excited, then I may fall over and die.
Oh, no, that's not going to happen.
I said, oh, you're the queen of this and queen of that. Just let me be me and be humble.
Right.
And don't change nothing.
Mm-hmm. Can we be excited for you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
What would your husband say about all of this?
I know he would have been excited. He would have been excited. Just like those kids are excited.
Speaking of your children, which one of your children really picked up your cooking skills?
All of them, except one.
Okay, you don't have to name that person. I don't want to get you in any trouble.
Marvin. Marvin cooks, but Marvin ain't gonna cook like those other kids cook. Those other kids cook like how I cook. They cook big and they cook everything.
Miss Emily, is there anything that you haven't done you want to do?
All I want to do now is just live, see my 90th birthday.
Amen. Miss Emily Meggett, mother, cook, grandmother, beloved cook, best-selling author. Thank you so much for speaking with me. And again, congratulations on the Presidential Service Award. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this episode of Let's Talk. Let's Talk is produced by Eric Johnson. I'm the host, Carolyn Murray.